come on into the ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and we're about to get witchy, whether you like it or not. Today we're taking it easy, like really easy. I've got my 100 stars dressing gown on, which I got for Christmas, which I absolutely love. And I'm badly in need of replenishing my pampering stash, mainly exfoliator and toner, which some of you have asked me about what I use on my face, so I thought I would put that together for today's video and show you exactly what I use. And I thought while I was doing that, you know, we could have a chat, drink some tea. So it was a very rough end to 2020, I'm not gonna lie. It had been a pretty rough year as it was. A few people quite close to me had passed away, and then a very, very close friend of mine passed away on the 30th of December, which was very difficult. It's also why I didn't put out my second video in the last week of December, so I'm sorry to have missed that, but I'm sure you understand. It was unexpected, it was awful. We were grateful to be able to have something resembling a normal wake and funeral in the Irish tradition, which in my opinion goes a long way towards helping with bereavement, particularly in cases where somebody has passed away suddenly. I have thought about doing a video on Irish funerary traditions in the past, so I don't know, is it too morbid? Are you people just as weird as I am? Let me know in the comments. It's good to be back, to have something to focus on, and to have you guys who are so supportive, and you know, all your wonderful comments over the last few weeks, over the last couple of months really, have been so encouraging. And I thought now that it would be a good opportunity to just answer a few questions that I get asked fairly regularly whilst we're drinking tea and making potions. I'm just going to show you before I start. The first thing I'm making here is coffee ground exfoliator. Currently all of our used coffee grounds are going towards feeding my hydrangea bush to hopefully turn it from a shade of pink to a shade of blue. So I'm just going to use this bag of coffee, which has been open for a very long time and probably isn't the freshest. Not great for drinking, but excellent to use on your face. Really all I'm doing with that is putting in some oil and some essential oils. Yes, I am using cheapy supermarket olive oil that is probably not refined or virgin, but we're in lockdown here, so I'm not going to make any unnecessary trips, and also ditch witches use what they have, okay? And I'm putting in some sweet almond oil to lighten the mixture down a little bit, and I'm going to put in some vitamin E to preserve it, and then my usual blend of essential oils, which I will link in the description below. So the first question that I often get asked is, what is a ditch witch? Well, that's a pretty good question. I mean, let's break it down. Like, ditches are boundaries between worlds. And I suppose in my life I have lived in, you know, a lot of different kinds of situations, and often from one extreme to another, often through no choice of my own, and it sort of felt like, you know, I was getting very good at living in liminal spaces. That sounds very hoity-toity, but it's sort of walking between worlds, which is a thing that just seems to be a common motif in my life, in metaphorical ways and literal ways too. And also I'm an author, so as a narrative, you know, that's a pretty easy way of summing up, you know, you never really know what's going to happen next. A little bit like the Faraway Tree in Enid Blyton books, where you could go to the branches and get transported off into any different sort of world at all, and there was no way of guessing what was coming next, which I probably enjoyed a little bit too much as a child. The other part of that is, you know, the witch thing, which used to freak people out a lot more than it does now. I think now there's a little bit more of an understanding of people who are close to nature and who make potions for cures and remedies, and you know, I like the Terry Pratchett sort of thing as well, of witches being the keepers of stories, and a little bit like that. A witch never knows when she gets up from day to day what's going to happen to her next. Like some days she's birthing babies for people. Please don't ask me to birth your baby. Oh my god. And some days she's removing curses and stuff. Another question that I have been asked quite a bit. I mean, when I say I'm being asked quite a bit, it's not as if I'm big enough to have, you know, like hundreds of comments rolling in my comment sections every week. No, I mean, like, I meet people up the town, and people I never expect to be watching my vlogs. Hello to you all, by the way. And I meet them up the town and they ask me questions, because that's how it is in real life. And that's also what it's like to live in Ireland, because everybody knows everybody here. Well, not really, but we kind of do. So why do you keep asking me to subscribe? Is it a cult? Not yet. The reason I keep asking people to subscribe is because it helps my channel to grow. You've got these things called algorithms, which some of you might know a little bit about already, but they are the best friend and the worst friend of a YouTuber. They basically decide, you know, how many people are going to see your video, like whether you'll show up in the recommended videos for somebody. And also, beyond a certain point, they are a very big contributing factor as to whether or not YouTubers get paid for making their content. And this does not mean that you have to pay for a YouTube subscription. Let me make that absolutely clear. At no point will you ever be expected to pay for content on this channel. This channel is to bring people joy and witchiness in what is turning out to be a pretty crappy couple of years. I myself have relied heavily on YouTube vloggers when things were kind of tough this year and I couldn't find anything on my usual channels to watch, and so I went exploring and I found some really amazing creators out there. And when their channels got bigger and they began to think about getting monetized, which means allowing YouTube to play ads over your videos, which then can mean that the YouTuber gets paid a tiny bit of money for every ad view that happens. So when the vloggers that I really appreciated started to ask me to watch the ads on their videos, I went, you know what, I will. You deserve to have YouTube pay you for the quality content that you are making. And the rules by which you can get monetized are if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on your video within any given period of 12 months. So whilst it's still completely free for you, the viewer, those creators are still managing to get paid for every, I think it's every 1,000 ad views that they get on their videos, which then in turn helps them to improve the quality of their channel. So they can buy better equipment for recording, they can buy better lighting so that they can record more content throughout the day instead of having always to do everything in broad daylight like I still currently am. And they can also fund themselves to go places and provide content for you that maybe otherwise would have cost a lot of money for them to do by themselves without assistance. Thankfully, I am still at the stage where it's all very easygoing and I'm trying out different kinds of content on you folks, and I'm very much enjoying hearing all the feedback about the videos that you like. Feel free also to tell me the videos that you don't like and why. I'm a little bit all over the place and I do a lot of things when I'm left to my own devices. I'm like a child in a sweet shop. Sweets! But watching the videos that bring in the most views and bring in the most subscribers can be a very illuminating way of deciding how to go forward. So right now I am trying to build my subscriber base. So I'm trying to get my videos seen by as many people as possible. So subscribing helps because it means that anyone who has ever enjoyed one of my videos enough to hit subscribe then gets a notification when I post a new video. So that helps me to maintain a status quo for the viewership. There we go. Some lovely exfoliator. For the toner, I am using cooled green tea, rose water, witch hazel, vitamin E, and water and essential oils. You can also put some aloe vera gel into this if you want to. I usually do, but I can't really be arsed today. Yeah, so that last question kind of led me into another question which hasn't necessarily been asked out loud, but the view counts sort of speak for themselves. Why don't you do more historical videos? Well, the reason I don't do more historical videos is because in the 2 months that my channel has been up and running, we have spent the majority of that here in Ireland in lockdown. So whilst we have a fair amount of places of historical interest in the area, I can really only go within the 5-kilometre limit, which is usually imposed on us in lockdown. And even when lockdown isn't happening, I don't have any transport, so I'm still kind of relying on lifts and things like that to get to the places where I need to go. Although I am working on wheels, so fingers crossed for 2021. Send me your thoughts and prayers. The third reason that I don't do basically nothing but historical videos, it's not as if we don't have enough historical sites in Ireland, we do. But the research time involved in doing a half decent historical video is pretty considerable. I don't just want to throw one out every week that's kind of just repeating what somebody else has already said or is factually inaccurate. So I'm going to try and aim to do maybe one per month, lockdown permitting of course, but that is one of my major goals for 2021. Another major goal that I have is to put in a lot of work in my garden. I mean, if it's one thing I did learn last year is to make time for doing things that make you feel really good and fulfilled. Because when the shit hits the fan, those are going to be the things that really save you and keep you ticking on. So yeah, this year it's all about the garden. I want to get another few beds down. I want to have vegetables and cut flowers and butterflies and bumblebees. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. And also, as some of you may know, I am a volunteer with my local radio station, Dundalk FM, on the town, and I hope to continue making shows for them and helping out wherever I can. I'll also probably be spending some time making music for documentaries or for other projects, which, as many of you may know, is another thing that I do. By the way, thank you to those of you who supported North Loud Hospice by purchasing a copy of the Christmas album that we appeared on. We're expecting some very good and very surprising news to be announced about the amount of money that was actually raised. So when there's news on that, I'll let you know. If you're combining oil and water like this, you're going to want to shake this before every use. So I hope that has answered any questions you might have had so far. If not, ask them down in the comments. I know I really enjoyed this. It's a lot more kind of chilled out and in line with what I'm actually able for in January 2021. But stay tuned over the next few weeks for a very fun, very informative history video that I have coming out, actually, hopefully next week. I don't know. What day is this? Who am I? Hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures. Slán agus beannacht. Goodbye and good luck to you.